Outside the box of religious obligation lies a road less travelled, into the heart of the Father's affection. Slinging freedom all over the place, this is the God Gen.
Do you like giving gifts?
Oh, we're back to Christmas.
No. You went to Christmas. I just said you like giving gifts.
In December. This is the 22nd.
Okay. So it's fine if you go towards Christmas, but I was not trying to pull out your bah humbug. Okay.
Okay, good. I don't want to get him out again.
Do you enjoy giving gifts?
I enjoy, yeah. Absolutely.
For some people, it's absolutely like one of their love languages. I've got one of my boys he is awesome at giving gifts because he really enjoys knowing who that person is and knowing that, I'll get him this. They will love that. It's almost as if he gets greater excitement about doing that than he has getting stuff, which I'm going like, oh, how cool. He must get that from Kelly.
You must. So do you and Kelly exchange gifts at Christmas?
We do.
Yeah, we haven't for a while.
Serious?
Yeah.
You don't give gifts?
Not to Sarah or to her to me.
Why not?
Because we it just seemed kind of silly. We're always trying to I got to think of something. Now we find giving gifts to each other during the year when something comes up and you just think of the right thing. That's fun.
Okay.
But just to do it because it's that time to do it. We actually got started by putting that money towards something we both have been wanting and needing for a season.
Okay.
And, so we gave gift that way to ourselves.
Okay.
So now we don't so much. Not at least on Christmas morning. That's more about kids and grandkids. So yeah, we don't do a lot of that anymore.
Oh.
Which is
that's different.
Yeah, I love giving gifts. I hate shopping for a gift when you have no idea what it is that someone wants and you just buying something.
That's where you ask questions.
Yeah. Well, we do. And then people go, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I'm good.
Yeah, but we don't stop there. We press.
My kids do too.
One of my biggest problems, one of my biggest problems is they always say, so what do you want? And it's like, nothing that you could buy. I mean,
I just want your love.
No.
A puppy.
You could buy that. No, but
the free ones are better, though.
Yeah. I realize a lot of times I'm not really in that mode of, I can't wait till someone gives me this. It's more like, I don't know. So that is a bit of a chore for me to kind of come up with, I really would like that.
Yeah.
I'm getting better because I know they ask. But there is something, I do think it's
But then
weird.
you almost have to make up something. I got to go find something I want. I do.
No, I mean, I don't. I mean, if I can't come up with something, the truth is I go like, whatever,
That's why I love giving gifts so much. When I see something I know that person will love and it's not Christmas, not birthday, there's no expectation. It's just, they'll be really excited to have that.
That's cool.
And then there are gifts like my daughter gave me. My daughter gave us a gift recently to go to a movie theater in town and see a movie together and popcorn and all, and the date night and a card. And
see, those are some of the coolest gifts at times.
It is when there's actual money on the gift card.
See, when I was little, we would just make the coupons. And it would be the gift of my time spent doing this or so and all that.
Yeah, we've done that. No, this was a gift card down to the most expensive theater in the area that's got the plush seats and all that.
And it had money on it.
Had no money on it.
It had no money on it.
And
just
I thought,
an idea.
We use it? I mean, it was a year and a half old, arguably. So it's been around a while.
They just drained it. It had money on it. You just lost it.
Well,
you didn't use it in time.
We took it in there, and the guy says no money on it. So we use it.
It's because they have a revolving. That's how they get you.
No. They took it to the manager. He took it, and he said, actually, there's never been money on this card. And so like, okay, well, my daughter gave us this card, so I told him, hey, Julie, good one, man. You gave us the old go have a free night on us, and it cost me $50 to take my wife to the movie and get popcorn. And she was like, what? So she took her receipt down there, and they still wouldn't honor it. They could see the card never had money on it. They had her credit card receipt.
And they still didn't honor that?
No, they wouldn't do it.
That deserves to be named out loud and boycotted.
They did give her 2 passes, which is whatever. They gave her 2 passes, so we got those to go back. But yeah, I'm never going back to that theater after we use those 2 passes.
So do you get excited on Christmas Day because it's Christmas Day, or do you just like?
No, I tell you, I love the day. I love the stuff we're going to give the kids. I love when the family all comes over. I love this family is fun to hang out with. So any family day, but we do that once a month or so. But this family's always fun to hang out with. Yeah, I love waking up that morning.
Well, it's going to happen.
The only problem is Julie waits so long to get over here. Stupid kid.
Okay, well, this is airing on the 22nd, so maybe she'll hear it and change.
No, she has these traditions. They wake up, they got all the stuff they do at home, special breakfast, open gifts.
See, that's good for them. That's family identity. That's
awesome
all
for them. It sucks for me.
Well, then go sleep over there.
It's all about me.
I'm Grandpa. Stay over there at night.
They haven't invited me yet.
Julie, that's the way to solve that one.
We can come over and spend the night, get up in the morning.
Yeah, then you're part of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Woo.
Big
times.
I've hinted.
I think it's loud and clear right now.
So, did you hear the things that Sean Parker said?
Who's Sean Parker?
Sean Parker was the first CEO of Facebook. Did an interview a couple weeks ago, and I'm not even sure where. I'll try and find it so people can listen to the whole interview if they want to.
Wow, powerful, non-famous person.
He's managed to fly under the radar till now.
I wonder why.
But he says some things about Facebook and what they were doing at the beginning.
I know. You played it for me.
I'm going to play it for the rest of them.
I know.
And then we'll come back and talk about it.
The thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first of them, to really understand it, that thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever. And that's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you, more likes and comments. And it's a social validation feedback loop that it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. And I think that the inventors, creators, and it's me, it's Mark, it's the, Kevin Systrom at Instagram, it's all of these people, understood this consciously, and we did it anyway.
Wow. They should be locked up. That's bad.
Yes, it's horrible.
I mean, you could confess to being a cocaine dealer and it wouldn't have done the damage that they've done now.
No, it's true enough.
There's such a profound addiction.
No, it's absolutely just like the tobacco manufacturers 70 years ago.
And they're confessing their knowledge of this.
We're intentionally making a product that is destructive to you, but we're going to make it so addictive that even when you know it's bad for you, you can't stop. And that's what Facebook is.
I know I stopped.
You quit?
Not forever, but I started to recognize, oh, wait a minute, this is taking up more time than I have.
I would that everybody would pause a minute and decide that.
Yeah, I sat there going like,
is this the time in your life you want to give to that? I enjoy watching my daughter put stuff up with the grandkids. There's people I love staying in touch with through Facebook. I'm not saying Facebook is an evil, but you've got to know it was designed to be addictive to you because they're selling you. Facebook is selling you, and they're giving you nothing. And they're selling you.
They're selling you to you.
And to everybody else you know. They got your eyes and ears.
But they know the personal vanity of, how many likes? And, they're rising. And I was talking to somebody else going like, growing up as a kid, it's like the lunchroom at school was hard enough. Now it's 24/7 through their social media. And you're going like, kids are exhausted. And they don't have a free space anywhere where they can just be them, and they're okay being them, because now there's other people who are busy being liked by everyone else, and if they're not in the rat race of it, they don't have value.
That's why they say, and I don't know if this number is right. I heard this statistic, but it wasn't sourced. They're saying suicides are up 40% among teenage girls.
Oh. Gosh.
That sociologists point back to social media, because when you hear them talk about this little dopamine hit, we give you a like or somebody makes a comment. And when that happens to you, if your whole day brightens, you got to know you're full on dopamine. You're fully on it.
Yeah.
As I heard this, I looked, you know what? I don't know what it is about me and Facebook. I use it to stay in touch with people. I don't like it. So I have when I'm on Facebook, I have a hold my nose, do what I want to do.
Really?
Get off of here. Yeah.
Because I see you typing with both hands.
I have clothespins for the nasal. Okay.
Just wanted to be truthful.
Metaphorically speaking.
Be truthful here.
No, whenever I'm on Facebook, I have a realization that they're wanting to sell me.
They're wanting to feed your ego.
They're wanting to hook me in, but I don't get a dopamine hit. I know other people do. I don't. I get dopamine hits from other things.
None at all. Not at the least.
I don't. In fact, people say, how many likes did you get on that? I have never looked back at a post to see how many likes were on it. I never have.
Okay.
Not once. I see when it flashes on my screen, so-and-so's liked your post.
You must be the Omega Man.
If someone, honestly, when somebody likes my post and I don't know them, I'm not ungrateful for liking it because I know that makes it available to their friends. But when I see somebody's name I know, I'm warmed with the thought of them, not that they liked my post. I like them. I haven't talked to them in a while, and I may pick up a phone and call them. But
there's a little dope.
Well, it's not. I don't know that it's I gotta like. It's that I like that person.
I just think it's amazing that you, Wayne Jacobs, are pervious to Facebook's dopamine of self.
I don't know that I'm impervious. I just don't feel it.
Okay.
I do get that weekly, and
because I actually surprisingly started to feel some of that, and I went, oh yuck. Before I listened to that,
yeah.
I was going like, wait a minute here. This is tweaking me in a way I don't want it to tweak me.
Yeah.
Because I was actually enjoying. I started doing it because a friend of mine basically told me, look, there's a lot of things going on in your life that are really wonderful that people would be encouraged if you decided to share a little bit of that. Yeah. Why are you not doing that? Why are you not using your voice? And I'm going like,
it wasn't me, people. It wasn't me.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. And I sat there going like, okay, oh wow, I hadn't ever. That actually gave me a little sense of permission because I do have a disdain for the narcissism of just the selfie thing. Oh, over and over, and I'm just going like, there's something wrong with that. I don't need a lot of intelligence to recognize it. Yeah. I just sat there going like, I'm not sure that has been a blessing to our society.
I'm sure it hasn't been.
And so I look at that and I go like, I don't want to be one of those.
Yeah.
And so I had my own self-restraint of going like, I'm not doing it. Forget it. No way. Not interested. And then someone kind of said, yeah, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah. And
I go, okay, valid point. And so I shared some things that I knew would in fact be encouraging. And I was excited that it was having some of that effect.
Yeah.
But then I also saw it started to draw on me. And I just went, oh, I don't like that.
Oh, good on you. Good on you for recognizing it. I noticed that a few years back, I first got on Facebook. It wasn't even a traded corp yet. And it wasn't all that advertising dollar being significant. And it really was about sharing things with friends and all, even though the dopamine hit was, I can't believe it was consciously put into this thing to be addictive.
That's the thing. Like,
the social validation feedback.
The movie that they had that sort of was the rise of, Facebook, stuff like that. Total PR lie then, because they didn't have any of that in that movie.
No, they didn't. That's it.
It was sort of like, oh, this is just a fun thing. And looking wow. And you're just going like,
they didn't use Sean Parker, obviously.
Well, I'm kind of curious why he's actually acknowledging that.
Yeah, or why he's not with the company anymore.
Obviously. That's interesting.
Yeah. and the parting may not have been as amiable as you would hope it would be.
So there's a little bit of peeing on the tree as we confess this for everyone.
And he says all of them. It's not just Facebook. They were first and intentional, but Instagram, Twitter, everybody's done the same thing. And it's all about how to exploit that social validation feedback loop, which if you're a popular poster, if you have a way of sharing things or taking photography that gets people to like your stuff or comment positive on your stuff. Yeah, there's amazing things you can do with that. But you've got other people who are not, what are they getting if they're not getting the dopamine hit? What's the other hit that drags you into this feeling of rejection. Because I read something else the other day. I wish I'd sourced this too, that rejection and pain traveled the same neural pathways.
Huh.
The emotion of rejection and the feelings of pain use the same neural pathways. That's why rejection hurts so much.
Huh.
And that's why feeling rejected, because you put something out there, particularly those posts they give you where, you put out there saying, if you really want to, if I'm really your friend, repost this or whatever. I never do that stuff because I don't play this game of whatever that is.
Don't break the chain.
But I just feel like it's yucky. But then I look back at the people doing it, and some of them probably really need the social validation. They really feel like no one reads or cares about their posts. Probably.
Well, what's so weird is I do think that this technology is an amazing capacity, because I do think that people who had been somewhat isolated now have a capacity to establish some genuine relationship. And I'm not one of those guys that says, well, because it's a computer, it's not real. I end up going like, well, no, I think there can be some real depth in all of that. And so that can be a positive, wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But I do end up going like, wow, there is an addictive side to this that is having, I think, a very destructive element to our society, that I just end up going like, people don't have the same capacity for face-to-face engagement as they do through the interface of their device.
Yeah.
And I end up going like, there's something wrong there. I don't know what sociological, people or, educated psychologists say about what that is, but I just like, the little layman guy me, I go like, there's something wrong there. The fact that I can't pick up the phone and actually speak back and forth with someone, but I have this buffered interface, I end up going like, ooh, where does that lead to in 10, 15 years? Because it's already changed the whole dynamic of how this younger generation perceives themselves.
Yes.
They see themselves through this validation. And I end up going like, golly, this is sort of the new way of assessing what my value is according to the likes. And I'm going like, I know people just go through the ding, 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 and they're not thinking about you at all. So I'm going like, how is it that this quote means so much when it could be completely void of any of the meaning you've established?
Yes. And it would have been great if you could have just had that without the likes. The likes is nothing more than the manipulation of people. If you just say, here's my grandkids, and people see it. If you're interested, you look at it. If you're not interested, you don't look at it. That whole thing was to set up to be an environment. Again, we want to hold your conscious attention for as long as we can on this page,
do you
so we can throw advertising at it.
Do you think that is the craving for real relationship or engagement, and that this is simply the tool by which that frankly gets, snagged and drawn in? Because if all you're doing is tossing it up there and you never look back, how do you know anyone looks at it?
Why does it work? Because we all are filled with shame, apart from the cross.
Uh-huh.
And the social validation feedback loop is how we convince ourselves we're not worthy of the shame we feel. I think this plays...
Okay, ouch. I just stepped on my tail.
Well, you did. Well, it had to be painful. I'm sorry.
Say that again.
I think the shame of the fall is that sense of insecurity, that sense of I'm not worthy.
Uh-huh.
And that's what the whole dopamine is meant, because when I get that hit of dopamine, it's, I am worthy. I do. My shame is a lie.
Okay.
Instead, your shame is a lie for lots of reasons, but not that one.
Okay.
So you get it. I think it appeals to the very thing that's broken in humanity. The need to be noticed, the need to be validated. The social validation feedback loop is the most disgusting but accurate term you can put to it. Like I started getting, when I was on Facebook about a year, and I have 3 different pages. I have one for God Journey and Livestream and Finding Church and whatever. I started getting every week from Facebook, this is how much your page is up or down. So I get 3 or 4 of those a week.
Ooh.
How much your interaction with people has gone up, how much has gone down in percentage. Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
You're famous. You're a public figure now.
The first one I got,
you're a public figure.
I deleted.
Okay.
I don't even open them. I just go right through and delete them. I still do. I've been doing it now for 3 years. There's nothing in those numbers that's going to help me.
Oh.
Because I might have been on a trip. I posted 5 or 6 times. I'm going to have a lot of interaction, or I just did a thing to help me choose a title for the book I'm working on. And I mean, I got tons of interaction on that. Now, next week, if I'm looking at that stuff, this week, I'm up 285%.
Nice.
I'm guessing. I haven't looked at it. Next week, I'll be down 147%.
Oh, depression.
And if you're riding that stuff, like people asking me, I got asked last week, how many people listen to God Journey?
Had a bad week.
And I'll say, I don't have a clue. You don't really? No. Could I find out easily? There's a button I can go to on my computer to find exactly how many downloads we get. I haven't looked at it in years. I intentionally stay away from it because my thought is this. There's nothing there that's going to help me. If it's up to a whole lot of people, and I know that now, that's not going to help me.
You're a better person.
It's only going to mess with me.
No, you're a better person.
Yeah, that's going to mess with me.
You're more valuable.
If it's down, if there's only 5 people listening.
Oh, see, a bad person.
See, then I would, no, it's not even that. I would begin to think maybe it's not worth doing.
Yeah, had an off week.
What I know from
nobody cares.
Would you stop it? You sound like Screw Tape for Pete's sake. That's exactly the lie of the enemy. Yeah, that's why
I know that's the disturbing part of this, and the more disturbing part is the confession that they knew they're doing that. That's the thing that I'm going like, wait a minute, that was not in the movie.
Plotted it.
You dirty, rotten scoundrels.
Put it out there to capture a culture on this dopamine hit from feeling validated.
Worldwide.
And one of the interview, he says, and God knows we have no idea what this is doing to the children. And sociologists are saying, well, we do. We know for whatever, and it's probably, just like you said, high school, it's probably the 10% of the in kids that get all the hits and attention and attraction, and 90% are not getting that same feedback from their friends, and now they're committing suicide because they feel worthless. And they're in all kinds of emotional darkness because Facebook wanted to sell your attention to advertisers. So they intentionally made a social platform, and Instagram did it, Twitter did it, they've all done it, made it intentionally addictive so that they can sell your eyeballs to the advertisers and get you to create. That's when I put a post up for various things, I do it because it helps people know that God Journey's got a new episode up there. I do it, but every time I'm just feeding what they want me to do. Put content on there that other people are going to look at, that give them a sense of advertisers. And we can yell at social media, but you know what? Go to any business you want to go to.
It's in the human heart. It's just Facebook is just a tool.
But the goal of any entrepreneur is how do I make what I'm offering addictive? Whether it's my bar, my restaurant, I
didn't know that. I think that's part. It might be true. It's probably true. Why I'm not a very good entrepreneur by that definition, because I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, instead of offering this is the dark side of capitalism. And I know we're not socialists and a government controlled economy and all that kind of stuff. But the dark side of capitalism is the most evil people in a culture know how to manipulate it for their financial advantage.
I wouldn't say that that's capitalism. I would say that's
it allows it. I did say it was the dark side, but capitalism
I don't think it's the dark side
it.
of capitalism, because I think that's a poorly defined thing about what capitalism is. Because I don't think that's the goal of capitalism.
What is the goal?
I think I don't talk about capitalism. I talk about free markets. No, I'm not. I don't.
I wish my market were free. They make me pay every time I go there.
No.
You have a free market?
I do.
I would love to go to your free market.
I believe in free markets. I do. At least I think that's what economics is supposed to be run off of. And I think that capitalism is a part of that expression of free markets. So when it's like, got to create something that's addictive, or I'm like, I don't know that that's capitalism. I think that's the dark side of people and what we do to manipulate and do that to people. I don't know that communism or socialism is devoid of any of those dark sides, as if
they have darker sides.
I know.
No doubt.
But so I end up going like, I don't know that it's capitalism that does that. I think it is people that are using the capacity to manipulate somebody and something, and they're doing so with intentionality. You end up going like, okay, that's bad.
And you're economically rewarded for doing so.
Which is why, and I guess that's where it's like, didn't come prepared to define capitalism, so
I didn't either.
So I don't have a good definition for that.
I've been studying it for 3 days just so I could torture you with it.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding. I have no idea either. But it bothers me that if we totally just let people make however much money they want to make, and I don't have an answer to this. I'm not a socialist. I'm not, we get to control all the economy. But if we do not put a restraint on intentionally addictive behavior, then this is what we're going to get. This is why our society is growing so dark. Because there are people out there who want you to be addicted to their thing. Because that benefits them exponentially. It's not like, well, it gives them a way to make a living. These people are not making a living. They're making a killing. And they're doing it to the despising of the system. And for one of their guys to actually admit, Facebook was designed with this in mind. It was designed.
Where'd you hear that?
It's Sean Parker. He said it.
No, I know. I'm just kind of curious because, one, I didn't hear it till you made me aware of it. And I'm just going like, okay, what was the form in which he confessed that?
Yeah.
Was that to his priest?
I heard that clip on a news show, which is why I pulled it off.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know the whole context of it, but I will do some research, and in the show notes on this podcast, I'll put down there where people can get more information about it.
Because I look at that and I'm going like, okay, to what end? Was it just an economically driven end? Because what's a little bizarre when you look at how it kind of emerged, it seemed to emerge just as a platform to communicate. It's an algorithm that it didn't seem to have the premeditation at the beginning, or at least how they told the story. So it is a little odd to hear him say, no, from the very get-go, this is what we were after, and we knew that we were, and it's like, but how did you know it was actually, because they had the hardest time figuring out how to monetize it, because they had presented it for free.
Yeah, and I think going back to the very beginning when it was designed for friends to share news with other friends and have links of friendship, I think that whole platform idea was probably just that. It probably wouldn't go beyond that. But when they have a CEO and now you've created a company,
yes,
and you're making
and
it
you're
multinational,
looking to monetize that and take it public, then yes, then you have to go after this. How do we intentionally do all this? But as they told the story in terms of how it came about, it didn't seem. I mean, because I remember thinking, looking at it, going like, how are they going to take that company public? It's not. It doesn't have a product. It's not, I mean, I was going like, they've taught everyone to expect it for free. MySpace tanked because it was a free environment, and then pretty much everyone started to pile on trying to monetize and sell their wares, and so everyone went, I'm out of here. And it's like most of the social media platforms that have emerged as free platforms for the enjoyment of their users. And then the monetization comes behind it, and everyone goes like, oh, forget that, I'm out of here. And you just go like, okay, wow, how have they, with intentionality, done what they've just confessed? Because initially I was going like, how are they ever going to monetize that? And I see how they have.
Right.
And you go like, they use it as the entry portal to just about any other commerce where it's like, would you like to register as a guest or log in as a user and just click button here and it'll take us to your Facebook. So we'll get all your data, and you just go like, oh, yeah. Okay, I'm a guest.
I've never signed up with my Facebook because every time it says we'll get all your friends and contacts. I'm like,
no, I wouldn't do that to my enemies.
I actually had a guy one time do that. Some guy had written a book, contacted me, got on my Facebook page, and actually started friending all my friends. So he could have a market, which he decided people that read my stuff would want to read his similar themed.
Right.
And I finally got onto him and said, dude, really? Let's not do this. And I wish I'd been smarter to privatize all those so people wouldn't know who my friends are. But yeah, it's everything's exploitable by the darker side of humanity. That's just looking for a leg up somehow. I got to find a way to get there. And now, I mean, Facebook, you can buy an ad and send it to people who listen to the God Journey. You can buy that ad and have your posts go to God Journey listeners.
Now you let them know.
I know. It makes me sad. I wish there was some point. I've always said, if you could get somebody, just offer me a $60 service a year that does everything Facebook does without advertising and manipulation, just so but I don't know if my friends would all pay $60 a year to be on that when Facebook is free. But I think what we're seeing now is Facebook isn't as free as you think it is.
Oh, it's not even remotely free. It's so practical downshift to, you got a kid that seems to be completely addicted in terms of their self-worth to this evaluation of whether people like what I'm posting or not. How do you help that person?
Boy.
I mean, what do you, I mean, because I think there's a ton of parents that it's like, you know what? They got to not be absent at this moment. Because I do think there's becoming an epidemic of just complete destruction of a younger generation's sense of self.
Yes.
And their value. And it's like, okay, so.
Not to mention how much time. Just.
Oh, I know.
Even if your validation isn't there, just getting trapped because they designed it to trap you. So at 1 a.m, instead of sleeping, you got your phone under your covers. You're sending messages and you're reading stuff and you're.
Because that says I have value and importance.
Watching cat videos, whatever.
I don't get the cat videos.
You don't have friends that post cat videos?
I think I do, but I don't get it.
This is the one thing where Sarah and I have said over and over again, I'm glad we're not raising kids today. And I know it's not helpful to those who are. My daughter is. And we're talking about this with her because she's got a 13-year-old now, and they're very much engaged. Their friends at school are engaged with social media. So if they're not engaged with social media.
But, you know, I think what's so goofy is their parents are addicted too. That's one of the real problems, because it's like the kids are just simply doing what, I mean, I get disturbed when all of a sudden you see a little 2-year-old that's got the mock cell phone up to their real cell phone.
Yeah. And Christmas present.
And they're just sort of playing the same game that they see everyone else doing, and just go like, okay, wow, this is, you know, Danger, Will Roberts, this is not good.
Yeah.
And you just go like, wow, there's an awful lot of lonely parents who are getting their same sense of self and validation from this, which is why their kids are following suit.
Yes.
And we go like, okay, this is a much bigger problem than just, those younger generation. I think what's uniquely weird is that they've grown up with this as their new normal. And I'm going like, I remember being called in for dinner because we were playing outside.
Right.
And you just like, now kids don't do that. They're constantly consumed, and they don't engage with adults well. They don't socially have the same normal graces of, hi, my name is so-and-so. It's like kids don't introduce themselves to adults very much anymore. And you're going like, okay, I hate to be one of those like old fuddy-duddies. Like, what's wrong with me seeing the younger generation and I have at it? But I end up going like, we're missing some of the basics of interacting in a meaningful face-to-face way.
Yeah, and what we talked about last week about having a relationship with God and finding space. Now there's absolutely, remember how much time we had where you didn't have a radio or you didn't have a phone? You could process life because it wasn't all consumed. It's not always a podcast in your ear. I mean, unless people make an intentional choice away from their devices for a certain season of the day, I think God's voice does grow dim. I think when you always have something in your ear, and the noise, and you're caught in a social validation loop with that noise, or you've always got to have a podcast. Then people say, "I never hear anything from God." Well, how much silence do you have during?
When would he have a chance?
Yeah, does
he know your cell phone number? Does he text?
You've got to put space into your day. You do space where there's nothing coming at you. You don't have music on. You don't have podcast on. You don't have TV on. You're not checking your Facebook feed. And if you don't have that time, whether it's going for a walk or just sitting on the patio or whatever, I do think it makes the reality of God grow very dim because I'm being hooked to my social validation feedback loop. And that's going to wear me out as well as destroy me. And then the larger concern as a culture is, what is it doing to these kids that are finding themselves depressed, bullied, marginalized online? And think the only option is to kill themselves. In some cases, being encouraged to do that.
Well, it's like they have no place to escape where that isn't present. That's the thing that seems crowded out, is where, I'm not in for safe spaces on anywhere, because you just go like, okay, that's not the point. But the reality is where do I have that ability to just, I'm not bombarded.
Yeah.
And it's like our culture, in its greater effort to, be plugged in everywhere, you just end up going like, oh, I don't know. This is not so good.
This is something I think parents are crazy if they're not actively thinking about it for themselves. How much are my kids seeing me on social media? And how much am I on it if I'm trying to hide it? That's
yeah.
So wonderful thing about addiction is you want to hide the addictions. But how much I'm on it and how much is fair and when I need to put my device away, and then really have that conversation with your kids as well. Time Magazine ran a great article a few weeks ago. I gave it to Julie. I gave a copy. I'll try and find it and post it on this podcast as well. It's for Time Magazine, some great advice for parents who are dealing with social media and their kids, because they realize it is so destructive. If you're just hoping you give your kids access to that and it's all going to work out well, you're crazy. If it's not something you're talking about, maybe even in the room with them while they're engaging it, so you've got a eyeball on their demeanor. Is it are they having fun with it, or is it weighing them down? I think this is something that's got to be up front in the conversation, because you've got some of the smartest minds of our day actually trying to destroy you and your children to sell advertising. And it's intentional. And if you're not aware of it, it's going to bite you someday. Because
cyber crimes.
Big part of addiction is denial too. Oh, I could put Facebook up anytime. I don't know. Part of it's denial. You got to realize it is. And so you've got to honestly assess, what's this taking up of my life? Is this where I want my life to be?
And the whole dynamic of modeling for our kids as to, where do I get a healthy sense of self? You're not going to get rid of the need for validation. That's sewn into the human psyche as to, but the question is, where does it come from? Where is a healthy place to have it defined?
Yeah.
Who's a good judge of the actual value of you and why? Because by default, we're letting a whole bunch of other people that we have no idea what they really do or don't think of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's also Lord of the Flies environment. I get to feel better about myself by tearing people down below me in whatever pecking order we're
that's
creating.
Disgusting.
It is.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, it was weird. I watched on one of my texts, they have all these new functions. I'm like, when did that show up? And by accident, I hit something that I disapprove of. But I hit it by accident. And it gets sent to the person. And I'm like, how do you recall that? I didn't. And I'm going, I hope they're healthy enough to realize I might have hit that wrong. But I sat there going, I didn't mean to communicate that.
Well, a follow-up text could say, ooh, that was my mistake, sorry.
Yeah. But I just like, oh my gosh, in the name of efficiency, we're making this even less meaningful.
You know, I hate text just because I'm always texting the wrong person. I'll get a text, shows up on the little banner thing, and then go right and respond to that text, and that person's not the last person I text.
I know some of you.
Yeah, I've said some horrible things to people I love, and to people I don't even know.
Woo!
Yeah. So it's eye-opening.
For Christmas, get off your phone.
It's eye-opening.
Thank you for travelling with us today on The God Journey. You can join this conversation by visiting thegodjourney.com.